Well, another college tradition is dying a gruesome death for the sake of students' feelings. Administrators at Michigan State have banned whiteboards from the school's dormitories, or they plan to next year, because sometimes students let offensive messages wind up on them. Well, heaven forbid students ever be offended, so the boards had to go. The Lansing branch of the NAACP, meanwhile, has hailed the ban as, quote, a victory for the school's black community. We reached out to MSU for comment. They did not reply. Aaron Stevens, though, is a student there. He thinks the ban is a fine idea, and he joins us now. Aaron, thanks a lot for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Tucker.
So it seems to me if you're going to ban whiteboards, why stop there? Why not ban pens and keyboards and other instruments of divergent opinion and just kind of suppress speech and everyone would be happy? I mean, it is kind of what's happening.
You know, as an MSU student and as an East Lansing resident, I think the whiteboards kind of distract from the bigger issue at hand. What we've got here is another student who feels the need to intimidate somebody in our community based on a different identity. And I think the whiteboard ban kind of distracts from that. What it does is it puts the blame on the method of messaging rather than addressing the message itself.
Right, but I mean, the method and the message are kind of intertwined. I mean, it's one thing to have opinions, but if I can't express them, I mean, they're not really opinions, are they? I mean, the promise of the First Amendment is not only do I get to think things, but I get to say them, right?
Right. And with that, I think that what's really, really important is right now in our current political climate, you see a lot of things that are, instead of open discussion and open dialogue, and I think the base of free speech is that we can have conversations that are productive, that we can disagree respectfully and then we can still move forward with our lives. And I think the point that I'm trying to make here is that what we need to do is we need to make sure that we're respectful when we make those, when we make those kind of points. Your viewpoint shouldn't necessarily be attacking people. It should be about the issues. Right now, our political climate is completely focused on this idea that it's the in-group, out-group dynamic. And that's what it is. We got to be against these people. We've got to be for these people. That divides the country. We don't want to divide the country. We want to be stronger together. That is just how we need to operate. And the truth is, no, Tucker, so you and me we're gonna disagree on some stuff, but I'm here on this show because I really think that the most important thing we can do is talk to people that we disagree with, understand their viewpoints.
Well, then why would you be against taking out a means of communication, a whiteboard? I mean, it's not the ideal means of communication, but maybe we live, I don't know if this occurred to you, in such a world, an Orwellian world where people are punished for what they believe and say, that maybe they feel like the only outlet is on a whiteboard. And so why would we want to take that away from them?
So, again, what I'm going to say is I actually think the whiteboard ban distracts from the bigger issue. And I am 100% willing to have those conversations. I think those conversations are important. What's common right now...
I'm sorry, let me stop you. What does that mean? I mean, you're either for people being allowed to write what they think on a whiteboard or you're not. I mean, that may be a distraction from another issue, but it's still an issue itself. So why wouldn't I be allowed to write on a whiteboard? I don't understand.
I think the issue at hand is that you need to go into conversations with an open mentality. Right now, while I'm talking to you, I'm really trying to understand where you're coming from, because the truth is every single person, regardless of their political affiliation, regardless of where they came from, they have a reason why they think how they think. And to make progress in our society, we need to recognize that. And you might not disagree, or you might not agree with what they think, you might not agree with the method of how they got there, but the truth is, once we start to understand why people think how they do, we can start to have productive conversations.
Okay, but I mean, everything you're saying is obvious, and I think most people would agree with it. But again, you need to be allowed to say what you think. And what you think doesn't have to be popular or constructive or polite for you to be allowed to say. You have an absolute right to express your views, period.
You're right.
Do they not teach?
Right.
Okay, and that would include whiteboards, no? I mean, it's kind of simple.
The idea of freedom of speech is essential to our country. That's literally what our country was founded on.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea that you can disagree with somebody and have that conversation,
that's
really good. But I will say there's Tucker, let me finish here. There's a difference between you expressing a view and then you providing intimidation and harassment to another student. The truth is that MSU has a MSU has a responsibility to keep their students safe. And that's what it is. When I was a freshman...
I'm sorry, they're telling me I'm out of time. I hope you'll come back, because I want to get to the question of what's safe and what's unsafe.
I would love to come back.
Okay,
I really
thank you, Aaron. I appreciate it.